Paul. Yes. Yeah, I just got here. I was reading this executive order 13520. Yes. Reducing improper payments and eliminating waste in federal programs. It says to make every effort to confirm that the right recipient is receiving the right payment. Oh, for the right reason at the right time. The right. Oh, receiving payment, reason, and time. I'm sitting here this morning because did you issue the court order for the right reason? Oh, at the right time. Seems like we have a problem with the right today. The left are in control. Yeah. And your thought was, well, we don't have to actually do what the laws say. There doesn't have to be a right reason for issuing court orders. You can just issue them without any protections to myself or my family. Pooch. You can do it anytime you want. You don't have to do it within the 14 days. Yes. You can do it right after arresting a person for the reason of breaking the protection order when I was found not guilty. Seems like there's a problem with the right today. See, on the left, you do everything the opposite of what the actual law says. You don't make payment on time, you don't have the right reason, it's not the right person, and you don't do what is necessary according to the right time. You really don't do it! Now, I know you're upset, okay? I was sleeping on an air mattress because you would not enforce the laws, and I'm concerned about these payments that the government's been making to those in law enforcement about, well, you're employed to enforce the laws. And you make sure that you always get paid, do you? Oh, I was thinking back to November 20th of 2015 when I had emailed the Port Angeles Police Department, Sequim Police Department, and the Port Townsend Police Department that the petitioner didn't sign the protection order. I wasn't given any due process, and you issued it for 10 years when we have children in common. Now, I'm just concerned that you've been getting paid for a job that you haven't done, and as I sit here wondering why it is that I didn't get any phone calls, is it because the dogs are in control and you never do what the law really says? You always make small adjustments to it, the exceptions to the rule. Poach. The RCWs are at your discretion. If you think it's in the best interest of the children, you can issue it using forgeries. Poach. You can issue it using fraud, pal. You can issue court orders for any reason that you on the left think. See, they have these executive orders, right? I once wanted to go through them because I thought the office of the president was somewhat important to the United States, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's not important. Maybe you can fuck over every fucking. Can you? You don't have to do what you've sworn. You don't have to do what the law says. You don't have to acknowledge the laws. You can just make up bullshit reasons why you're in office and you're getting paid, and doesn't fucking matter what I say because you'll do whatever the fuck you want. Now, this receiving the right payment, pooch, to the right recipient. Have you been receiving the payments of somebody that's not an actual employee of the police department, pooch? Could you get me the actual employment dates of every individual in every police department, every sheriff's department, the FBI, and all of those in law enforcement? Let's say that somebody, well, they quit, but they didn't tell anybody, and you kept making payments to them as if they were doing their actual job. And you decided, well, I might as well just keep that money since you wouldn't show up. I thought I'd pay myself for you not quitting. Now, when I look through those that have the legal obligation, they would be known as the recipients of the income from being in law enforcement, and then as the recipients of an income from law enforcement. Of course, if you're making payments to individuals that are not actually doing any work, They're one of these seniors that have been in the police department for maybe 30, 40 years, and they go on patrol every other Sunday night for about 4 hours, and they get paid for 40 hours a week, and then you kind of have a little agreement that they kick back some money to those that are the chiefs of police, making sure that we don't really talk about certain things, but some of these, well, have the right recipients been getting the right amount of money for the right number of hours for the right reason of actually going to work? Now I'm sitting here on the street asking myself, well, how is it possible that you would allow for forgeries, for fraud, poach, abduction, and kidnapping? In fact, I got to thinking about that 2 hours from here to Quilcene. Yes. I'm sure somebody said, well, for sure he went over there, and that would be if you were in a vehicle. As I remember it, to drive from here to Tacoma or Auburn, Washington, it's about 2 hours and 45 minutes. Yes. But to drive, okay, from here to Quilcene or Brennan, Washington, where the alleged crime took place, yeah, I think I could do it in 2 hours. But if you took a bus from here to Brennan, Washington on June 16th of 2017, you'd have to take a bus from here to Sequim, Washington, from Sequim, Washington to Port Townsend, Washington, then Port Townsend to Brennan, Washington. Take you about 3.5 hours, just guesstimating, since I already talked about how fucking long it takes to get there. Now, if I was making videos on June 16th, sitting right here that whole morning and uploaded them to the senior center at 1 p.m., exactly how the fuck did I get to Brennan?